So you have here Avon Belden, Walker Road across the top, Jaycox coming down, okay? And you can see the various phases that are taking place. What we're going to talk about tonight is only, I'm going to outline the area, this area right here, okay? And it comes down, it comes across. Yeah. So what you can see right here, I'm going to use my hands, what you can see right here is that you have existing Huron Bay. Presently, the plan was for it to dead end here, but the way that the residents saw it. However, they always had the opportunity to continue because in our thoroughfare plans, it says that there should always be interconnectivity, correct? Right? Okay, so this is a mirror, what they're proposing right now, of what they have over here. This is similar to what you find at 2 other locations in Legacy. Okay, wherever you see the dotted lines, this is what FEMA today is saying is a 100-year storm area. Okay, so it would be the wetlands area. This would be wetlands area up through here, okay? Now, what's happening is that this is not up to date. So at the end of the study, which is supposed to occur this month, is that correct, Mayor? This month, FEMA is going to be getting together with the city engineers, and this is going to be revised. The properties across this area, as their councilwoman, I know that they deal with water issues right now. In putting in more impervious areas, whether they're streets or whether they're rooftops, these folks need to have their existing water conditions dealt with. And the developer during the Planning Commission meeting did state that additional drains would be going in the back of the properties and bringing in pipes along this direction, because then when we start seeing the infrastructure plans, they're planning on bringing in stormwater control under the ground. But I do want to show you some of the existing pictures during a water event so that you know some of the challenges that not only the residents have, but also the applicant has. Can you see that, David?
I can see that.
Okay. This is taken from somebody's back door.
Huron Bay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much on Huron Bay.
So just to understand, the Planning Commission approved and recommended this to City Council by a vote of 7-0. Is that?
Yes, sir.
No conditions, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So can I just understand what the options are in front of City Council once it finally gets to the third reading? What City Council can do on this under the code?
Mr. Lieberman.
Yeah, just preliminarily, I'll recheck this, but it appears that for a general development plan, that council has to act within 90 days after receiving the recommendation from the Planning Commission. Failure of council to act within 90 days is a confirmation of the Planning Commission's recommendation, and based upon what it says, and again, I'll recheck this, but the council has 2 options. One, it may confirm the recommendation of the Planning Commission, or it may reject the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Okay.
Any
other questions or there?
Yeah, and I didn't hear anything about conditions before. I heard someone say conditions, and what Mr. Lieberman just read, there aren't any conditions that can be attached. It's up or down. That's it.
Yeah, the conditions are those that are attached by the Planning Commission.
By Planning Commission. Okay. And
my name is Richard Ellison. We live on Huron Bay. When we retired, Huron Bay appealed to us for several reasons. It was a quiet cul-de-sac with many other retirees on a well-kept golf course. We, among others, paid a $25,000 premium for a lot with a multiple fairway golf course view from our backyard. These features were emphasized by the COF employee, salesperson. At no time was the possibility of a housing development on the golf course mentioned, either in discussion, in sales literature, or in the disclosure statement book. under Exhibit 2 showing a map highlighting Heron Bay and the golf course with no future development indicated. The southwest corner of the proposed development is disproportionately dense when compared to all other phases of the Legacy Point development. 47% of the homes in Legacy Isle will be within this corner. When combined with the homes on Heron Bay, a level of density is created. It is contrary to the rest of Legacy Point.
So you're talking.
Hi.
How you doing?
My name is Tracy Finkelmeyer. I live at 691 Heron Bay. There's two issues that I'd like to discuss today. The first one is disclosure. I had money on a lot on English Turn for about, 4 to 6 months. And I ended up switching to Heron Bay, and I never would have switched had this been disclosed to me. I think that point's already been covered, but I just wanted to reiterate that. Secondly, I wanted to talk about water. I've lived there for 4 years. In the first 2.5 years, I went through 6 main sump pumps and 2 backup sump pumps, and I've had 3 floods. And you know how hot it's been in the last, couple weeks, months. My sump pump runs every 45 seconds in the dead heat of this summer. That shouldn't be going on. I've done the math, and if the power would go out more than 3 hours, my battery backup on my sump pump would be exhausted, and I'm guaranteed to flood. So I had to spend thousands of dollars on a generator just to guarantee that I wouldn't get flooded again in a power outage. So I'm concerned, very concerned with the existing water issues.
My name is Peter Lux. I live at 675 Heron Bay. And I moved in here 3 years ago from the Jersey Shore, and I know what water can do because I lived through Sandy and Irene, and you can't stop water. It's not if water will come and flood, it's when. And what they are doing is trying to move heaven and earth to prevent this. They are moving piping, changing levels beyond. It's like creating a Suez Canal.
The other item that was on the agenda was an update of the comprehensive land use plan. So Mayor, I'm going to turn that over to you.
Sure, thank you. Members of the Land Use Plan Committee, Steering Committee met with Caroline Chaikin and Kathy Froman from the Prodigal Company, along with Arthur Schmidt and Jason Sudi from OHM Advisors, to get a sense of what the committee felt the character of Avon Lake was. This was accomplished by taking us through several exercises. We identified various groups in our city who we felt were influential in shaping the character of our town. This led to considerable discussion. What followed was a conversation as to what our city's qualities were that made it more desirable, and also some qualities that some of us found less desirable. We ended the session by looking forward to the future and describing what we felt Avon Lake would look like and be like in 10 to 20 years in the future. Most importantly, OHM advisors will be present at the Beer Fest on September 22nd at Miller Road Park to gather input from people in attendance to hear what they think about our city and where they want it to go in the next 10 or 20 years. Input from residents and non-residents alike would be valuable, and I expect that OHM will keep track of comments separately. Based on our first session on July 31st, OHM posted some photos in a Dropbox which compared some very familiar photos of our city and their view of what could be. In that session, we identified areas of the city that we found charming and other areas that we could become more attractive and more desirable in which to live. I expect that some of these shots will be part of the display that will be used to gather input from people at the Beer Fest. The next meeting of the steering committee is scheduled for September 25th at 3:30 at City Hall. This time we're going to have it in these chambers rather than the very small conference room. That concludes my report. Thank you.
I'm Abby Green. I live at 33359 Bayberry Court. I'm here today to request City Council adds room in your 2019 budget to add solar-powered LED crosswalk signs in additional locations in the city. I'm currently working on my Gold Award, which is the highest honor Girl Scout can receive. This project's purpose is to serve my community, and the intention is to live past me. Growing up in Avon Lake, I've always had trouble crossing major streets. I live on the south side of Walker Road, and Troy is located on the north side. And so when I was in 5th and 6th grade, I really wanted to bike to school, but neither my parents or I felt comfortable having me cross the street that early in the morning, and anytime really. So when it came time to pick a topic for this project, this issue was glaring, and I knew I had to do something to improve crosswalk safety. So my project is threefold. I want to raise crosswalk safety awareness with children in the schools, so assemblies, announcements, take-home forms, raise awareness with drivers, public service announcements, posted for everybody in the city to see, and I want to increase the effectiveness of the physical signs in Avon Lake. So I plan to work with the schools, ALCTV, the police department, and yourselves if you'll allow it. I have received support from the police department, and I have received support from the superintendent, and I'm here today to ask for your support. I believe City Council's #1 job is to keep residents safe. You have previously added these signs in 3 locations, one Lake Road in 83, Redwood in 83, and one further down on Walker Road. Chapter 4511 of the Ohio Revised Code states that cars are required to yield only if the pedestrian is in the middle of the crosswalk. If they're just waiting on the side to cross, it's only a common courtesy for these cars to stop. And this is a courtesy that is being practiced less and less throughout our community. When a child is first learning to cross the street, they are told to look both ways and cross only when there's a safe break in traffic. And while this is a good strategy on smaller roads, it's complex on major roads such as Lee or Walker, where traffic is constant and is not always looking for pedestrians waiting to cross. When activated, these solar-powered LED crosswalk signs will catch the attention of the drivers and have added confidence for the pedestrians waiting to cross. While discussing this project with the police department, they gave me 2 possible locations they think would benefit the citizens of Avon Lake the most. The first location is at Lear Road and Grove Street. It's located right in between Eastview Elementary and Learwood Middle School, so this would help the students before and after school where there's no crossing guard. And the other is Walker Road between Waterside Crossings North and South. I personally live in Waterside South, so I can attest to a sign there. My hope is that more children will feel safe crossing major streets throughout our city. I ask you to consider adding another set of these solar-powered LED crosswalk signs to either location deemed priority by the police. I believe Avon Lake is a very safe place to live, and that the addition of these devices would just make that statement even more true. Thank you for your time.
Yes. While I was out of town, there were a number of calls made to my cell phone. I know to offices here at City Hall and to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources regarding a specific location on Long Point and English Turn area about coyotes. The behavior that's being exhibited with coyotes going after raccoons, coyotes going after opossums, coyotes going after woodchucks. They're telling me this is natural. It's like a cat going after a mouse, and that it's part of their behavior. So they should not be feared, but if they begin coming in and being aggressive toward people, then we will have to escalate the discussion and involve trappers, a professional trapper. And you all have my phone number, 440-821-4617. It's in my area. Please do contact me, and let's keep a watch on it.
Mr. Koss.
Yeah, just one thing real quick. This Sunday, September the 9th at 4:15, baggage car number 38 will be formally dedicated by the state of Ohio. There will be a dedication of the marker there. This is a part of the Avon Lake 200 celebration. There will also be plaque presentations stating the declaration of Beach Park Station, and the baggage car is Avon Lake Historic Landmarks as well too. And that will take place at the former Artstown Plaza, now renamed Beach Park Station, and it is so nice to call that area Beach Park Station again. That's Sunday, September 9th at 4:15. Open to the public.